My next video is going to be another game from this box set, the Dizzy's Excellent Adventures, and it's going to be Spellbound Dizzy on the Commodore 64. This is the Commodore 64 box, but it isn't actually exactly what it says it is. I mean, it doesn't give you any indication there that it's a different version of Spellbound Dizzy, but it is a lite version. So I have this for the Amstrad CPC, and it's a game that is well over 100 screens, which is considerably bigger than other Dizzy games. So there you go, over 100 amazing screens of cartoon fun. But there must have been a problem somewhere along the lines making this for the Commodore 64, and to get it released in time for the release of this box set, I think some other people had to come along and sort of cobble together something workable. But then they finished the job off for a single cassette release. So you've got the lite version, which is on here, and you also have the proper version, which was released as a separate cassette. Found Spellbound. Just proving to you here that I am loading this from a real cassette on real hardware. So yeah, Spellbound Dizzy, exactly as I remember it on my Amstrad CPC. It seems this time they've gone to great lengths to keep the game looking exactly the same. I say great lengths, I don't know how hard it would be just to make Dizzy look the same, but he does. Now the first thing I noticed is that I couldn't use the joystick, so you have to use the keyboard to play the game. Unlike most of the Commodore 64 versions of the main Dizzy games, this has the same music as the other ones, although of course it does sound a little bit different coming out of the Commodore 64's SID chip. Poor Dylan's got himself stuck inside the wall, but he doesn't seem too unhappy about it. So you may see the game stopping at a few points, and you might think that I'm pausing it, but I'm not actually pausing it. If you press left and right at the same time, then your animation just freezes, which is very odd. And also, when you die, you don't get a pop-up box telling you that you've died. The game just freezes and waits for you to press a key, which looks very odd because none of the other games do that. So even though the layout of the map is completely different here, the aim of the game is the same. You have to rescue your friends, the Yoke Folk, and Pogie the Fluffle and Theodore the Wizard. They've all been accidentally transported here by a spell that Dizzy accidentally cast by reading it out loud. But unlike the bigger game, you only have to collect 2 stars and get an item from the character. They did actually go to the effort of completely changing the map, so it's a complete standalone game, but just much smaller. It is a little bit buggy though. You see there the range for collecting that fruit there is absolutely massive. So you get a few problems where you try to drop an item but you accidentally talk to a character instead. Right, so now Dizzy knows what he's got to do. I mean, he'd be kind of screwed if there weren't all these magic stars just lying around for him. Oh, in-game advertisements. I don't like those at all. Okay, so I can only carry 2 items at once at the moment. But luckily there isn't that pit with the trampoline that you have to cross every time you want to get some more rocks. So here's another character that they added, Seamus the Leprechaun, who again is not a egg person. He is actually physically blocking you from getting in there. To be honest with you, I don't know why Dizzy can't just ask him to move out of the way. Oh, okay, apparently there was something. It was almost like a piece of invisible cloud up there. Right, I've got 2 heavy rocks, that'll get me down a certain distance. More advertisements. Yeah, pick up the star. So, what's in this room? Oh dear, Daisy's gotten herself stuck on the other side of a puddle. It doesn't look very lively though, does it? I don't know why they didn't animate the water. So there's a bear in the way this side. Alright, so this puzzle should be easy enough. If I can get close enough to the water, then I can drop this bag of cement in the water. No, the game hasn't frozen. It's just waiting for me to press a key, which I didn't realise at the time. And it's restarted me back in the water again. Great. And yeah, you die straight away when you touch the water. Now again, of course I keep referring to the full game, but in the full game you can stay in the water. You can go in the water for a little time and you just get it's almost like a Sonic the Hedgehog sort of thing, where you can't stay in the water for too long. So Daisy's given you her umbrella, which not only is an item that belongs to her, but hopefully it will let us go a bit higher. Up we go. Yeah, Dylan's still there. I'd be surprised if he managed to get himself out. Right, up we go. Up we go. We should be going up. Just give it a minute. Right, there we go. Now, I think I said earlier, but it's clear that this game was kind of rushed out. It was cobbled together, possibly so it could be released in time for the Dizzy's Excellent Adventures box set. There's a few little bugs. It does seem to be just a little bit more sloppy than you'd expect. I mean, one thing I've noticed is that it takes just a little bit too long to go from screen to screen. It's a little bit jarring how long the screen stays black for. It's Denzel, who's stuck in a hole and doesn't really look all that bothered. Oh, Denzel's given me his Sinclair ZX81. Thank you very much. I've got one of those. When I think about it, the ZX81 was first released 10 years before this game. You can see there in the border at the bottom there it says Fred and Pete 91. So the ZX81 was released in 1981. So it's 10 years between that and this, but it's on a Commodore 64, which is still an 8-bit machine. So 8-bit machines lasted a really long time, didn't they? Some of these computers had a really long life. And I suppose you could argue that they're still not really dead. Right, so now I've got this item from Denzel. All I need to do is get out of here. But the tricky part is getting out of here. Yeah. You know what? I don't think you're supposed to take full damage when you land on that trampoline. But you do, and I'm guessing that's a bug. Yeah, I died face down. One more life. It's weird because you lose your life, but you don't see the little animation. One last chance. Oh, okay. Game over, I guess. Alright, well, that was a bit of a disappointing ending, but there we are. That is my look at Spellbound Dizzy Lite for the Commodore 64. So, thank you for watching. Goodbye.